Episode 56 IC August 30, 2023. Outside of UK smoke control areas, a boondoggle of rules keeping people burning wood. United Kingdom. Wood burning stoves, fines and regulations, which.co.uk. Which.co.uk. As concern around the potential health and environmental impacts of wood-burning stoves has increased, the government has introduced stricter. The new £300 fine for wood-burner use applies to all households that use log burners in smoke control areas. As these areas cover most of England's towns and cities, most households in England may be subject to this fine. To avoid paying the fine, you must ensure that your burner emits less than 3 g/hour of smoke. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates. August 29, 2023. Wood-burning stoves, fines and regulations. As concern around the potential health and environmental impacts of wood-burning stoves has increased, the government has introduced stricter regulations and fines. Can I be fined for owning or using a wood-burning stove? Stove regulations, eco-design stoves. Stove regulations, DEFRA-exempt stoves. Stove regulations, fuel types. Other certification initiatives. Are wood burners going to be banned? Guide to the health and environmental impact of wood-burning stoves. Concern has led to increasingly strict government regulations on wood-burning stoves, as well as increasing fines for their improper usage. Can I be fined for owning or using a wood-burning stove? You can only be fined for using a wood-burning stove if you do not follow the proper legislation, for example, if you burn the incorrect fuel. Councils can issue on-the-spot civil penalties for these offences, ranging from £175 to £300. If you repeatedly break this legislation, you could be taken to the criminal courts. Black and white wood-burning stove. Stove regulations, eco-design stoves. All stoves placed on the market after January 2022 must be eco-design compliant. If you bought your stove before this time, or your stove was placed on the market before January 2022, this legislation does not apply to you. Eco-design requirements set criteria around a stove's emissions and efficiency. In order to be compliant, the stove must not emit more than a specified amount of pollutants. These pollutants include particulate matter, PM2.5. You can check whether your stove is eco-design compliant by checking your brochure or contacting your retailer. Stove regulations, DEFRA-exempt stoves. Most large towns and cities in England are smoke control areas. In these areas, there are stricter limits on the amount of smoke that individuals are allowed to release. Because of this, in smoke control areas, you are not allowed to burn wood in normal stoves. You must either burn smokeless fuel, such as anthracite coal, use a DEFRA-exempt stove. DEFRA stands for Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. DEFRA-exempt stoves are built to stop wood from smoldering, which reduces the amount of smoke released by the stove. You are only allowed to burn wood in a smoke control area if you have a DEFRA-exempt stove. You can find out if you live in a smoke control area by contacting your local authority. If you do not live in a smoke control area, this legislation does not apply to you. In England, as of the summer of 2023, it is illegal to burn coal, excluding smokeless coal like anthracite, or wetwood in your home. You can only burn kiln-dried logs, or smokeless fuels. As above, if you live in a smoke control area, you can only burn logs if you have a DEFRA-exempt stove. Scotland and Wales, which have devolved powers on environmental matters, are still considering this ban. At the time of writing, you are allowed to burn coal and wetwood in these areas. Other certification initiatives. If you have been browsing different stove brands, you may have seen them advertise certifications from different initiatives. You do not need to purchase a stove with any of the following certifications. However, if you want to ensure that you are making the most sustainable or the healthiest choice, they are helpful to consider. HADAS Cleaner Choice Approval Scheme, as well as being DEFRA-exempt and listed on the DEFRA website, these stoves emit at least 50% less particulates than required for DEFRA exemption. ClearSkies. There are 5 levels to the ClearSkies certification scheme. Level 3 stoves are DEFRA-exempt and eco-design compliant. Level 4 stoves release 15% less pollutants than required to be eco-design compliant, and Level 5 stoves release 15% less than Level 4. Nordic Ecolabel or Nordic Swan, stove brands from Nordic countries may also show this certification, which sets out rigorous emission and efficiency targets for both stove production and usage. Canada, Alberta. https://www.theglobeandmail.com/opinion/article. The difficult necessity of claiming climate victory /UTM_medium equals refer % social network %hef media and UTM campaign. The difficult necessity of claiming climate victories. The Globe and Mail. August 25, 2023. Solar panels span a field at the Machichi Solar Project near Drumheller, Alta, in July. This year, more than 300 gigawatts of solar energy will be added to electricity grids across the world, more than twice the total power generating capacity of all of Canada. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity and relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. The summer of 2023 has witnessed a harrowing revival of the phrase global warming. Forecasts this spring predict were that global emissions from electricity production worldwide will soon begin to decline. Electric vehicles now account for 14% of all new sales, up from less than 2% just 5 years ago. In 7 European Union countries, including car-obsessed Germany, more than 30% of new vehicles sold in 2022 were fully or partly electric. From Frankfurt to Fredericton and beyond, millions of households, 3 million last year in the European Union alone, more than 20% of all homes in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, have switched to humble, hyper-efficient heat pumps for their heating, turning the simple appliance into an unlikely climate-fighting, Russia-defying hero. In May, analysts revised their 2023 forecasts for solar power's growth in China, already the world's leading market for solar panels by a wide margin, as new installations reached a level triple the record-setting pace of 2022. More than 300 gigawatts of solar energy will be added to electricity grids globally this year, more than twice the total power generating capacity of all of Canada. And that's just a single year of new solar projects. The clean energy future is arriving faster than you think was how a recent New York Times headline put it. In 2020, the International Energy Agency crowned solar the new king of electricity and predicted that it would be the single largest new source of power worldwide for the foreseeable future. And a 2022 Bloomberg report estimated that 87 countries have already reached tipping points in their adoption rates of clean energy technologies. The price of energy storage is falling nearly as fast as the cost of solar panels now. Electric cars get charging stations, more each year. In my home province of Alberta, after all, one of Canada's sterling climate victories, enormous new investments in renewable power projects, including almost $2 billion in a single recent deal with a Greek solar developer, was derailed, at least temporarily, by a reckless moratorium enacted by the provincial government in the name of natural gas. Pessimists might still point to the political arena, to national leaders and UN conferences, and say little has been accomplished and it's never enough. But politics is a lagging indicator in the climate fight. Comment on Facebook. Crystal Ryatizel. SNEO SDTR46H66M6830643333 High 001A7LH5 Mu4G40783325 Mu8746L0UU88I. Some real cases for optimism, even if, as Chris Turner writes, we're claiming victories even under skies gone sickly orange with wildfire smoke. To hugely summarize what he writes, we won't see the work we are doing for a while, but that doesn't mean our work is not going to work. So many huge victories include clean energy development unprecedented in both its speed and scope and rapidly accelerating EV sales and heat pump sales are amazing, falling clean energy prices, we have almost certainly avoided nightmare warming, we still have a chance still to lower our trajectory even more. California, life expectancy and PM 2.5. Sustained exposure to wildfire smoke reducing life expectancy in parts of California, report. The Hill. Nonetheless, the report authors warned that 96% of the country still fails to meet the WHO's fine particulate pollution, PM 2.5, guidelines. California, San Francisco. California's wildland firefighters have little protection against smoke. San Francisco Chronicle. But tiny, inhalable particulate matter, called PM 2.5, repeated exposure to PM 2.5 through wildfires was robustly associated with greater Colorado Springs. Breathing in wildfire smoke linked with neurological health consequences, study KRDO. The research was led by David Sieshka, a postdoctoral student who assessed the effects of rodents exposed to wood smoke every other day for a. Idaho, Coeur d'Alene. Where there's no smoke, there's still fire, Coeur d'Alene Press. Solid Waste Department Director Richard Brenner said that the county is hoping to use the incinerator to burn wood waste about 3 days a week. Michigan, Upper Michigan. Upper Michigan today, Ravenwood Gardens Smoke UP embrace the stigma event. Upper Michigan's source. Upper Michigan today, Ravenwood Gardens Smoke UP embrace the stigma event. Minnesota. Air quality alert issued for the area through Wednesday morning, local news, KXRA. KXRA. This smoke will be brought into the Dakotas and western Minnesota early, such as outdoor burning, and use of residential wood burning devices. Minnesota, PM 2.5 and life expectancy. Dirty air is shortening lives in Minnesota, study finds. Minnesota Reformer. Minneapolis engulfed in a smoke from Canada wildfires. Wood-fired heating and cooking appliances add to the mix, creating indoor atmospheres. Montana, Libby. EPA says Libby meets national air quality standards, Western News. Western News. According to EPA, the fine particles in PM 2.5 can be inhaled deep into the lungs and cause serious health problems. North Carolina, Wilmington, Belleville. Town of Belleville passes ordinance on regulating open burning, Wait 3. Wait 3. The ordinance allows the town to enforce the state regulations on open burning, which makes it illegal to burn trash and other non-vegetative. Africa, Kenya. How Kenya's air quality was affected by anti-government protests, Daily Nation. Daily Nation. The data analyzed PM 2.5 and PM 10, whose particles vary depending on their sizes. Particulate matter 2.5 or PM 2.5 is the tiniest. India, Chennai. Chennai's pollution emissions could go up 27% by 2030, report The News Minute. The News Minute. The Center for Study of Science, Technology, and Policy, CSTEP, a Bengaluru-based think tank, has estimated that particulate matter, PM 2.5. India, Delhi. Delhi residents on track to lose 11.9 years of life to pollution, says study, Deccan Herald. Deccan Herald. Though particulate pollution in the northern plains is exacerbated by geologic and meteorological factors, the AQLI's dust and sea salt removed PM 2.5. India, Delhi. Delhi's losing 11.9 years of their lives to pollution, improvement likely if revised targets met. India Times. Though geological and meteorological factors exacerbate particulate pollution in the northern plains, the AQLI's dust and sea salt removed PM 2.5. Asisa, South Asia. Air pollution now a major risk to life expectancy in South Asia, study, Reuters. Reuters. Reducing global levels of lung-damaging airborne particles, known as PM 2.5, to levels recommended by the World Health Organization, WHO, could. PM 2.5 and human health, asthma. Wildfire PM 2.5 linked to increase in incidence of asthma ED visits, Physicians Weekly. Physicians Weekly. 28, 2023, Health Day News, wildfire fine particulate matter, PM 2.5, is associated with a significant increase in the incidence of same-day asthma, PM 2.5 and human health, inflammation. Wildfire smoke can trigger inflammation in the brain, new research finds Air Quality News. Air Quality News. The research was led by David Sieshka, Ph.D., a postdoctoral student in Kampan's laboratory who exposed rodents to wood smoke every other day for, new research shows wildfire smoke impacts on the brain. Medical Express. Medical Express. Smoke from the massive wildfires still burning in northern Canada has cast A, who exposed rodents to wood smoke every other day for 2 weeks. PM 2.5 and human health, life expectancy. Global air pollution is cutting more than 2 years off average human life expectancy, report. Common Dreams. EPIC's report notes that the annual average PM 2.5 level worldwide has shifted between 3.8 to 7.2 times the WHO guideline, making air pollution. A letter sent on August 28, 2023 to the Assistant Attorney Generals threatening to sue the EPA over wood stove certification follows. Dear Assistant Attorney General. Attached is a letter that was sent to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, Director Dr. Jean Marazzo, former acting NIAID Director Dr. Hugh Auchincloss and National Institutes of Health, NIH, Director Dr. Lawrence Tabak regarding regulation and the ability to shut down PM 2.5 polluting indoor residential wood burners. PM 2.5 pollution is known to cause antibiotic resistance, making infectious disease pandemics more likely and uncontrollable. The letter asks Dr. Marazzo to apply a parallel track to indoor residential wood-burning pollution in 2023. This parallel track would include both EPA wood stove certification and a complaint-based system using Purple Air PM 2.5 monitor data collected from the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. This would be a way to address the very real impact of PM 2.5 pollution which EPA wood stove certification fails to address. We propose that the use of Purple Air monitors would provide important data on PM 2.5 air pollution that is currently missing in the EPA wood stove certification. This proposal is modeled on the approach Dr. Anthony Fauci used in 1989 that allowed a parallel track of both the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, use of AZT for AIDS that had the unfortunate side effect of blindness along with a second drug, ganciclovir, that actually cured the blindness. An earlier letter sent to your office asked that you include a complaint-based system of regulating indoor residential wood burning using Purple Air PM 2.5 data in your suit against the EPA. Indoor residential wood burners are already ineffectively certified by the EPA. This violates the EPA's own National Ambient Air Quality Standards, NOx, emission limits of 35 micrograms per cubic meter in a 24-hour period. Using data from Purple Air PM 2.5 monitors in the yards of near neighbors who complain of PM 2.5 from hyperlocalized indoor residential wood burners would provide the missing and important evidence of this type of air pollution. Currently, if a near neighbor's complaint is made to a local health department, a complaint using federal NOx exceedance data is not considered as a basis for a complaint against neighboring indoor residential wood burning. It is also not considered as a basis for shutting down the wood-burning appliance when the indoor residential wood stove has been federally EPA certified. Lawsuits for nuisance are expensive and beyond the means of the average American and are not considered precedents in courts generally. Contacting state agencies to shut down polluting wood stove use that affects the health and lives of near neighbors has been unproductive because decisions made by the EPA determine the decisions made by state agencies. Although the scope of your lawsuit seems confined to asking the EPA to continue their wood stove certification program as is, albeit at a faster pace, we ask that you consider the intent behind asking the EPA to tighten their standards for wood stove certification on a regular basis. The intent of an environmental protection agency is to protect the environment. This has perhaps been narrowly construed to be protecting air, water and ground from contamination from industries only. But United States citizens should actually benefit from this environmental protection as well. Tightening wood stove standards on a regular basis should result in protecting the environment as well as protecting United States citizens from harm from the air, water, and ground. We believe that the EPA's responsibilities are inextricably connected with public health responsibilities of other government agencies such as NIAID. Please try to accomplish something meaningful for the American people with this lawsuit by considering using a parallel track to include PM 2.5 data in future decisions about air quality standards. Although I am not your constituent, by commencing to sue a federal agency you are representing me as a citizen of the United States and in that sense as your constituent. Thank you. Sent to Cody.Doig@alaska.gov Alaska Senior Assistant Attorney General Cody Doig. Jason.James@ilag.gov Illinois Assistant Attorney General Jason James. Goldstein@oag.state.md.us Maryland Special Assistant Attorney General Stephen Goldstein. Turner.Smith@mass.gov Massachusetts Assistant Attorney General Turner Smith. Peter.Serdo@ag.state.mn.us Minnesota Special Assistant Attorney General Peter Serdo. Lisa.Morelli@law.njoag.gov New Jersey Deputy Attorney General Lisa Morelli. Nicholas.Batino@ag.newyork.gov New York Assistant Attorney General Nicholas Batino. Paul.Garahan@doj.state.or.us Oregon Attorney in Charge Paul Garahan. Steve.Novick@doj.state.or.us Oregon Special Assistant Attorney General Steve Novick. Nick.Persampieri@vermont.gov Vermont Assistant Attorney General Nick Persampieri. Caroline.Kress@atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Caroline Kress. Chris.Wrights@atg.wa.gov Washington Assistant Attorney General Chris Wrights. Jennifer.cleanair.gov General Counsel, Puget Sound Clean Air Agency Jennifer A. Dold. Jean.Marazzo@nih.gov Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Jean Marazzo. Hugh.Auchincloss@nih.gov January to July 2023 Acting Director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases Hugh Auchincloss. Lawrence.Tabak at nih.gov Director of the National Institutes of Health Lawrence Tabak. https://RAC President Testword pre-sscom/ Please attach PDF letter to NIID Director Dr. Jean Marazzo to an email from you to Jean Marazzo NIH.gov/ Episode 56 GF July 19, 2023. The Ask, request a complaint-based system from 10 Attorney Generals suing the EPA to give wood stove users certainty. The Ask, emails of 3 NIH officials Jean.Marazzo at nih.gov, Hugh.Auchincloss at nih.gov, Lawrence.Tabak at nih.gov emails of 13 Assistant Attorney Generals, Deputy Attorney Generals and General Counsel preparing to sue the EPA to provide clarity for indoor residential wood stove manufacturers, vendors, and users. Instead, the Assistant Attorneys General should ask for a PM 2.5 pollution complaint-based system in place of the failed wood stove certification program. The states involved are Alaska, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, as well as the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency. A new icon has been added to the RAWSC President's website, which is now the nearest right icon. The icon is an ask that has already been described in episode 56 GB, description of the parties who should be at the table when deciding on safe wood stove emission limits and fence line measurements, rather than wood stove certification, and emails to contact 10 Deputy or Assistant Attorney Generals and 1 General Counsel. Those PDFs are included at the icon link. Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, see https://racpresidents.wordpress.com and click on the nearest right icon for the Ask. 1. Email PDF letters to 3 officials of the National Institutes of Health, NIH, and NIID https://RAC President Testword pre-sscom/ Please attach PDF letter to NIID Director Dr. Jean Marazzo to an email from you to Jean Marazzo NIH.gov/ The Ask 2. Email PDF letters to 13 Assistant Attorneys Generals, Deputy Attorney Generals and General Counsel https:// RAC President Testword pre-sscom/ Please contact Attorneys General about August suit versus CPA asking for certainty for wood stove users. RACEP asks for complaint-based system based on PM monitor data exceeding EP/. To the right of that 3, Barbie goes to the dating game https://racpresidents.wordpress.com/1-barbie-goes-to-the-dating-game. To the right of that 4, cookies that may contain rocks are recalled https://racpresidents.wordpress.com/cookies-that-may-contain-rocks-are- recalled. To the right of that 5. The Fox Owns the Forest card game https://racpresidents.wordpress.com/the-fox-owns-the-forest-card-game-tba. Then to the right of that, the latest months, 6, August and 7, July 2023, of PDFs of articles with URLs to search on https://racpresidents.wordpress.com/1-august-2023-pdfs-of-urls and https://racpresidents.wordpress.com/1-july-2023-pdfs-of-urls. To the right of that, 8, stickers to hand out for RAWSEP, games such as 9A, Bingo for RAWSEP, 9B, Crosswords for RAWSEP 9C, PM 2.5's Jeopardy free game https://youtube.be/lnsg32pydnc 9D, PM 2.5 free Monopoly https://youtube.be/cuck1pscqnq and Endwood Smoke Monopoly 9E, vending machines for PM 2.5 monitors, and 10, icon links to 30-minute YouTube videos and Spotify podcasts as well as podcasts.google.com, Castbox and Pocket Cast. Pocket Cast is only free on the phone app. Pocket Cast works on Apple phones, and, below those icons, icon links to monthly URLs of PDFs from June 2023 to May 2022.